Okay, welcome back to How Not to Build an Engine with Dan. And yeah, probably not the right way to do it, but the way we did it. So what I'm doing here now, I'm gonna jump back in time a little bit, but I've been having a little bit of health issues and other stuff going on. So my video I got just briefly here where I installed the caps, and I didn't get one where I was installing the pistons and so on, but as you can see, the caps and the pistons are installed. We got the bearings delivered yesterday. Big shout out to Helmar Canada. They helmar.ca. They a little pricey on their shipping, but you know what? It got here in 26 hours from the time I ordered it, and I'm out in the country, so I can't complain about that. But we drilled out the main bearings and put everything together with gobs of assembly lube. Our pistons have been soaking here in this transmission fluid and 15W40 for I don't know how long. So we put the, let me tell you, things were greasy. The hammer and the ring compressor. It was a hard job to hold on to everything. They just about slipped right in the cylinders by themselves. But I have spent the afternoon with our illustrious crank scraper here, clearancing and grinding and filing and cutting, and she now goes on and rotate around. Not a single sound of any clearance issues anywhere, so we're good to go on that. What we're going to do is put the silicone around here. I'm going to let it tack up, and then we will put the crank scraper on and just put the bolts in loosely to bring it down and squish the silicone out a bit. And then we will wait till tomorrow and come back out, put the oil pan gasket on it and the oil pan, and be good to go. And I'm going to put a little bit of silicone on the pickup tube spot here, and then again the pickup tube will go on the crank scraper so it sits as low as it did before in the oil pan. So that's where we're at. I'll probably do a little video here of once the crank scraper's in place and I turn it over a couple of times. And then tomorrow we will get the oil pan on and the oil pump and get to work with the head and figuring out what we're doing for degree in the cam. And I apologize, the video wasn't not as coherent as usual. Isn't all my wonderful jokes that I know everybody tunes in for. To heck with the engine, it's all about the jokes. But like I say, a little bit of physical problem, nothing serious. And if it doesn't kill me, I'll survive. So no worries. All right, we'll tune in now with our regular scheduled programming. Okay, we got the crank in, drilled the bearings out, installed those, cranks in, turns. I'm just turning it with my bad hand here. She turns pretty smooth. So next step is to install the pistons. So we have our plate in place. We have to make a few small adjustments. This bolt hole, these two bolt holes. We need to trim a little bit right there, the nut's catching, right there, that nut's catching, a little bit right there. We can trim that down with the grinder and the Dremel, no problem at all. And I think what we're going to be doing is putting a bead of silicone on the block, putting this on. Once the silicone tacks up a bit, compressing this until the silicone spreads out. We don't want it dripping over the edges. We're not going to put a lot on, just enough to seal things. And same with our oil pump situation there. And then once it's dried, come back tomorrow and put the oil pan gasket on and the oil pan. And then we'll be into the wonderful world of degreeing the camshaft and what kind of ideas we're going to come up with for that. So more to come here shortly. Well, crank scraper's on there. I remembered to cut it a notch for the dipstick even. And it was turning over without hitting anything. Let's see if I'll do it again. Oh, did that foolish thing hit? Maybe show self-clearance. Right there. The only place. Yeah. It ain't hitting by much. Oh, is there another spot? That one right there. There, right there is hitting. Well, all right, oil pan's on. I'm gonna torque those bolts down later on. Just to give the silicone a chance to, do its thing there. Hopefully. Put enough on. Didn't want to put too much on. Hate having silicone gobbed out everywhere, but nice thing is it's the same color as the block, so looks like it'll blend in. So yeah, he spins over nice too. I say you gotta go clockwise, so it's like this. There's no sound. Now, once she gets going, she'll probably cling, tang, bang, crash, and go. But for now, she seems to be good. So tomorrow we'll be putting on the oil pump and the head and going from there. All right, next morning, back to how not to do things with Dan, and this is probably definitely not the way to do things. But our Felpro gasket is supposed to be even better than OEM, and the OEM gasket is supposed to be able to handle turbo. Now, we were going to try to use this copper wire. We tried to make rings, but this is a job for someone much more talented than me to get them to go on there and then stick on there. We've even got little bits of aviation gasket still showing. We'll try to wipe up, but they don't stick. They don't stay stuck. There's probably other things a person can use, better glues or something, but I don't have it. So we are going to put this gasket on. We're going to tighten her down, and we're going to have fun for 30 seconds, 30 minutes, 30 years, who knows. And when it blows up, well, I guess we'll take it apart and put another head gasket on. It's not that hard to pull the head gasket on an overhead valve. So we are now going to install the head and well, see if it'll actually turn over without hitting any valves. I guess would be a good start from there. And now the head is on and torqued into place. I gotta tell you, you bring out 35 pounds. And boys, when you're going from 35 to 98, I guess it was, 98, 100, that last little bit, yeah, it's a little stressful. And your bones like, come on, you got to be there about now. Just waiting for it to strip or some foolish thing to happen. But the head's on there. That's what we're going with. So now we have to install our oil pump and timing chain and such things. And then work on figuring out exactly what we're doing for the timing, our degree in that, and all that good stuff. But we'll figure something out. Okay. Well, I remember to get some video here now before I go too much further. So, we're putting timing gears on. I love different things. Instead of timing marks that you line up, I have a timing mark right here. I don't know if you can see it in there. Which lines up with this black link. And you have a similar thing way down here. See that timing mark? Lines up with that black link, which is supposed to go on right like that. So you got to line them up, then put your guides on, and then put your oil pump on, which has your tensioner. Good times. To get the timing lined up here, usually there's a single roll pin. Goes through this piece, there you can see, goes through the cam gear, and then goes through this piece back here. Now our problem being that after planing 40 thou off the head and off the block, we are about 4 degrees retarded in our timing. So I bought some offset keys that are made actually for a Ford 2.3. I'll dump this one out here so you can see it. You can see that it's an offset pin. And the problem is it is very hard to go through, up, through, back down again, through. It's a little difficult to get through the holes. So I've used two of these pins here, a 4 degree and a 5 degree. We put the 5 degree in here into the cam gear, which being a double roller cam gear, was thick enough that it came halfway into the cam gear, leaving a hole that I was able to put this pin, you can see here, in, so that this one is now advanced. So we've advanced the valve timing 5 degrees, the distributor gear 4 degrees, which puts the distributor gear should be exactly where it should be stock, and the valve timing should be 1 degree advanced, which a lot of fellows advance them up to as much as 4 degrees. Helps with low end power, so I think 1 degree we should be all right. And now we are going to install our valve guides. One installed there, another one right here to install, and our oil pump. And then we should be able to set our valves. This is the theory anyways. Well, we've got the timing all set. Everything's just wonderful. Spins over, something seems to bind. Of course, now we got to take the oil pump back off because we got to sort of fill it up with some assembly lube and whatnot, sort of prime it. And we got to spin it over and take the oil pan back off because you can't put that timing cover on with the oil pan and the head both there. Now the crank scraper will stay on where it's siliconed, and there's enough flex in it that I think we'll be able to get everything in. But yeah, didn't think about that. That's okay, minor detail, and hopefully everything should be all right there. So next video, we should have the oil pump and the timing chain cover on. Basically, oil filter, and got to put the fuel pump in, the oil pressure gauge sender, a couple of things like that, and she'll be ready to lower in. There's a very good chance we'll be dropping her in the car this weekend. Okay, after the 4th, 5th, 6th try, we got the oil pump on and the short oil chain. Let me tell you, getting this chain on here, which is very tight, is a mission. Let me tell you. We finally got her. A little woodruff key in here is, oh, it's the bane of my existence. So now we're going to attempt to put timing cover way over there on to way over here. It's going to need some gaskets and a gasket maker, sealant, and so on and so forth. So that's our next step. Okay, that's it for me for tonight. Well, I need to hook up, of course, water line. The water pump that I ordered and received was the wrong one. So that's unfortunate, but we live with these things. So the old water pump seemed good and tight and everything. It was working fine before, so I put it back on. Had a little trouble with the cover here, getting that all lined up with the crank scraper holes, gasket. Hopefully that's all sealed up. That's all I can say about that. Had to retap a few holes, but that's okay. And as you could see, my garage, once pristine and the envy of mechanics far and wide, neatness freaks would come here as a place of Mecca, has once again turned into Oscar the Grouch's nightmare. But progress has been made. Things were taken apart and put back together many times. I know now exactly how to do it, what not to do, and what to do. I will promptly forget all that information the next time I come anywhere near to doing anything like this again. But at the moment, we get a distributor in there, wired up, plugs, wires, coil, water system hooked up. She, I suppose, carburetor and intake, she could start and run. It's a distinct possibility. But we'll see what we get done tomorrow. I don't think this video will include installation, but it should be packed together to the point where we can install it tomorrow anyways. So, and next week you can tune in for the exciting conclusion of this glorious journey we've all been on. Good morning once again, and how to definitely not do things, Dan. So, it was pointed out to me that I really should paint that water pump. He was sort of insistent, real jackass about it, actually. Yeah, a guy named Dallas, I tell you, the guy just won't quit. You get those type, though. You know, they're hard to get along with. Can't stand the guy, really. Terrible. Yeah, you know I love you, Dallas. Anyway, I knew I should paint it anyways. I was in a hurry last night. That's why I was installing things and just bolted it on there with the gasket and the sealant and all the rest of it. Yeah, paint it. So now I'm wrapping it in plastic so I can paint it. I spent this morning cleaning up my garage again. It's wonderful. Anybody with a neat freak complex can come and worship at this holy of holy neatness. Right, I gotta quit talking about that. Anyways, gotta bring the plastic up around the front there a little bit, and then we're going to paint it the same color we painted the block, because I'll feel better about it and Dallas will quit his whining. And now it's painted. If by paint I mean paint has been applied. Yeah, he was right. It looks better. Still think he was whining, though. Yep, definitely looks better with the paint. You know, I did not paint around where the hoses are going on. Didn't really feel that was necessary. Touch them up a little bit of sandpaper first. But, of course, the pulley goes over the front of the water pump here anyways. But, yeah, it does look better painted, I got to admit. A couple other small things, and yeah, we'll be ready to slide this puppy into place. Sounds so simple when you say it that way. All right, as you can see, I've been doing stuff because once again the garage is untidy, but not to the degree it was. We have the fuel pump on. We've got the oil pressure gauge on. Got the coolant pipe hooked up there. And we painted the water pump. We got the dipstick in, although I think we'll be pulling it out before we do before we actually do the install. But this is the way she shall be set in. Obviously, I got to put the pressure plate and clutch on the back there before I do that, but it's got to come off the engine stand for that. It's going to go right from the engine stand to the chain falls, which I have out on our hay frame out there. So this is the end of the video. The next video will be the picking it up and putting it in place and bolting it down and fastening it and all the other accoutrements come with that. Prepare to listen to all kinds of swearing and aggravation and the tone of voice that I'm sure will indicate my mood when it comes to trying to slide it onto the transmission and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure it looks easy in most people's videos, but as we know, if it looks easy, I can make it difficult. And yeah, we will get to the point where it may actually be started at some time. But this should be the last video from inside the inner sanctum here. I do appreciate everybody watching. I really do. I know there's not that many of you watching, but those of you that are watching, I appreciate you 5 times more than the people that have 1,000 watchers. Trust me. This has been strictly for my own entertainment. I'm keeping a record of it so that I can look back over the years and see, oh, should not have done that. Ah, that's why that blew up. If I had 1,000 viewers, I'm sure they'd all tell me that it was going to blow up, why it was going to blow up, how it won't even make it to the point that it's going to blow up. It probably is already blowing up. I'm just not smart enough to realize that I've been in the middle of an explosion. So not having 1,000 viewers, I don't have to put up with that. But anyways, it's been quite a journey. So next week will be the video with it being installed with any luck. So stay tuned if you want to see what happens to the beautiful motor here.